Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The Committee Reads. I'm your host, KWCs, and with me today, I have Grayshaw151, GVR, Nagoda, and Ultimate Ditto. And today, we will be reading and chronicling the events of Match 154, Monster X vs. Gabara, by Joshua Reynolds. Continued for Match 164. Please check out the video, read the match for yourself for more context, I guess, if you want. I don't know. The Exilian leader held his hands at his sides. His temple pulsated in rage as the remains of Monster X were drawn back into the ship. This is impossible. He spat through gritted teeth, turning away as circular ships began to swarm the broken body of the space beast. Sir, he's alive! The leader turned around, eyes wide with joy as Monster X's dull eyes flashed with crimson light. 4 weeks later, the Earth was saved. The latest alien invasion had been thwarted thanks to the combined efforts of Godzilla, Rodan, Anguirus, and Mothra. It was a hard-fought war, but worth it. Only a few cities and several 100,000 human lives lost. Now they earned their time of rest. None of the island's inhabitants dared to disturb their sleep, which was lasting for weeks now. Pass. I want Godzilla.
The Earth was... Sorry. I want Godzilla. I want Gorosaurus. I want them all killed, the Exilian leader screamed at his crew as their ship circled the Earth. Attack Monster Island. Bring it. And those pathetic monsters to their knees. Show humanity they stand no chance. A scream loomed overhead, showing Monster X standing on his own. The aliens had used all their technological powers, but the skeletal kaiju had been generated. It appeared it had never been defeated in the first place. Its cruel eyes surged with hate, and a fine mist escaped its maw as it breathed. The bones in its fingers popped, and as it clenched its hands into fists, it was ready. It wanted this fight. It needed it. Gabara was on the beach, sitting. He had tormented the weaker residents of the island enough today, though Minya was now nowhere to be seen. He leaned back, placing his arms behind his head and looking up at the sunny sky. He blinked, his red eyes growing tired. It was a boring day. Boring victims, boring life. Then it happened. Pass.
All of a sudden, without warning, the fluffy white clouds began to swirl. Gabara began to stand, head tilting as the clouds turned gray. A circular object fell, shooting down from the heavens as if a demonic cannon. It hit the water. A plume of sizzling steam flew high, and a wave of water spread out. Gabara braced himself as the tidal wave collided with the beach. The ogre growled, eyes narrowing as the twisted figure began to emerge from the water. By now, other kaiju began to peek out of the surrounding forest. Baragon, Varan, and Gorosaurus watched curiously. The green saurian sensed the return of his previous opponent. He let out a low growl and lazily turned away, swaying his tail behind him in a show of boredom. Varan and Baragon, however, remained. They both fell low, eyes watching as Monster X began to wade to the shore. Gabara lowered his hands. His horn began to surge, sending power to his clenched fists. The skeletal demon didn't waste any time. His arm shot to its sides, bolts of power erupting from his red orbs. They took Gabara by surprise, eviscerating him. Winner Monster X.
If only.
If only, yes. They took Gabara by surprise, sending him flying back. He landed on his back, cackling in fury. Another blast of bolts followed, but he rolled away. The blast struck the sand, sending geysers of it upward. The ogre got to his feet just as another volley of beams fired. He ducked low, avoiding the gravity beams a second time. He leaped forward, his arms stretching out. His fingers dipped into the water, and his horn began to buzz with power. Electricity raced down his forearms, into his fingers, and then through the water. Monster X's body did not react at all. He just didn't react at all, because he took a nuclear-sized explosion to the face, and did not care. Monster X's body went rigid as electricity raced through it. The alien warrior groaned, struggling to move as tremendous power brought all the fish to the surface dead. Every muscle in its dark body ceased up. The thing's eyes flashed again. It fired. It struck Gabara's back, killing him.
Oh, that's a waste of fish.
Making the bully yelp. The generation of electricity stopped, allowing Monster X to charge forward. It lunged, jumping in midair and spinning. Its long tail lashed out like a whip, decapitating Gabara. Cracking into the side of Gabara's skull. The ogre stumbled away, nearly falling. The alien balanced on one leg and lashed out with the other, delivering a kick to the green giant's chest, imploding it. Pass.
Gabara finally fell again, landing with a thud. Pressing its attack, X came down with its foot like a man dropping an axe. I guess the regulator's here now. Gabara's hand reached up, catching the foot mid-fall. He pushed out, forcing the alien back. He rolled to the side and quickly climbed to his knee. X snarled, moving in close. The ogre's horn flashed again, surging power through his upper torso. His right arm came back and thrust forward, colliding with Monster X's groin. The alien moaned loudly and angry, but couldn't fall back. Gabara clenched his crotch and continued to start electrocuting the pride of the Exilian Empire.
I can't believe this is a real thing in a real match.
Firing
Yeah.
blindly.
Yikes.
X attempted to dislodge the ogre. Several bolts raked the back of the warty beast, but he refused to let go. Finally, after several grueling seconds, X's beam hit Gabara's face. I mean, he was right in front of him. The ogre screamed, falling back as chunks of his green flesh flew outward. Monster X stepped away, body twitching from the electrocution. It growled, stepping forward and lifting a foot. He began to kick and stomp the ogre. Gabara cackled, struggling to escape, until he lashed out with a foot, kicking Monster X's shin. It brought him enough time to roll away and stand up. He charged, body lowered, his arms wrapped around X's wrong waist, and hoisted it across his head and shoulders. He spun and dropped, slamming the extraterrestrial's head face first into the
wrap
sand.
Around Monster X's waist or his shit?
Waist. I mean, he
Okay,
did
fair
just get
enough,
electrocuted in the, Gabara quickly turned around and leapt onto the chest of Monster X. He clenched his fist like a crazy chimpanzee, began
yes,
to
you
pummel the alien. Did I read that right?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Ooh, ooh, ah, ah.
X flailed about, kicking and clawing as blow after blow battered its skull. Sparks began to shower from each impact as Gabara surged electricity through his flesh, adding to the damage. A blinding flash erupted from X's face as he fired point blank, launching Gabara like a cannon, throwing him to the side. Has he only been shooting beams and kicks this whole entire time?
That's all he does, don't you know?
Apparently, they're like minor stuns. You know, the beams that matched Godzilla's atomic breath. But let's move on.
Yeah, it's not like he's covered in like armor or something. The alien staggered to its feet, slapping the sand with its forked tail. It hissed, rolling its shoulders, and charging once more. It closed the distance and launched upward, floating to the ogre. Gabara ducked, keeping low as X passed overhead and landed. Reaching down, the warty bully grabbed its split tail. He began to shock it and drag it back, pulling Monster X to the ground. As its body twitched from the untold voltage, Gabara lifted the tail up and bent it back, using it like a noose. He rolled Monster X's throat, tying the twin tips like a knot. Holding steady, he kept the power turned up to the max as Monster X's tail strangled itself. That poor tail. Pass.
Stepping away, Gabara began to chuckle as Monster X kicked and clawed at the sand. It tugged, but it only made the knot tighten. The alien's burning ice began to fade, foam building within the confines of its jaws. The ogre crossed his arms and nodded, turning his back as Monster X's movements began to weaken, until no sign of life existed. Looking at his audience of Baragon and Varen, the ogre narrowed his eyes. The two beasts scurried away before a louder set of footsteps caught the ogre off guard. Godzilla and his son appeared. The Monster King looked upon the tied-up body of Monster X and grumbled. The nuclear Saurian nodded and then looked at Gabara. His snout curled into what could be a grin before turning around. Manila gave the bully a thumbs up before quickly spitting on Monster X's corpse, following behind his mighty father. Sir, Monster X, as I saw, those Lillian leaders snarled in the absolute hate. Recover him. By God, I will claim the life of one of the Earth's kaiju. I swear. Winner, Gabara.
And then Monster X got up and ripped Gabara's head off.
You know, I don't think Monster X needs to breathe, so how did he choke himself out with his tail?
Yeah,
Yeah.
This.
I don't know.
Oh lordy. So
It's
yes, I'm gonna try and find
Kaiju
something
X?
nice to say, which will not be much, because you have to start with the positives.
Why?
Because everyone knows the negatives to this one. Well, the banner looks more exciting. I mean, at least Gabara's actually bleeding in that. So it's like, oh
Yeah.
hey, Monster X is good. There's gonna be an even fight. No. Here's the only thing
No.
that remotely took me a little bit by
Whoa.
surprise was the beginning. Like, the notion of him that's like, oh, he was straight up killed in the last one. It's like, how does it continue? It's like, oh, they just bring him back to life. I don't find that to be too unreasonable, considering Ebera. Like, again, in Final Wars, Ebera's face was blasted in half, but he came back fully regenerated for his fight with Godzilla before being promptly killed, sure. But point being, I don't think it's too much of an ass pull. I think that is something that fits within the universe. It's like, okay, they can clearly regenerate monsters, after they bring them back. So, on that front, it's like, alright, I could see how this can continue, and even though he dies here again, it's like, okay, I could see how. Even so, it's like, if you're a Gabara fan, you'll probably like it. If you're a Monster X hater, you'll really love it. But I think for the rest of us who prefer something more... my issue does not necessarily lie in the fact that Gabara wins. Again, I have written matches where, again, like 153 for example, Mothra Leo customarily would have won any sort of fight with Dagora, but I was adamant on Dagora's victory in that. And I don't mind that case here. It's like, okay, Monster X by all accounts should just completely wreck Gabara to Kingdom Come. But, it's like, okay, so Gabara has to win for this one. I don't fully buy it, because again, it's just the nature of the monster. Strangely enough, I can buy Gorosaurus winning enough, because he literally has the legs. He has leg work. He's got those thighs.
he's got them
I could see
thighs.
Right.
He broke King Ghidorah's back.
Totally.
Show King Ghidorah, who's totally a major
Absolutely.
threat.
Objectively.
Yeah.
Yes. But no.
Monster X wouldn't break Show King Ghidorah's back over his
But
knee.
it's like, no, it's the weird thing. I can at least semi-buy Gorosaurus winning against Monster X, either by, like, stroke of luck or whatever. But here, I don't know, I just have even with the idea that's like, I'm adamant that he wins, it's like, I don't think there was any real situation here where Gabara could have won by himself. And I just... Again, I know this is literally part of the... It's going to be weird considering the finale to the trilogy, but the Monster X Hate Trilogy.
But you see,
I
that
know,
wasn't
that's-
Monster X
oh,
that one.
no,
That was
that's
Kaiser
true,
Ghidorah.
that's true. But yeah, freaking, yeah, no, no, it's like, even if it were, I don't know, it just doesn't fully click with me here. For that matter, I was zoning out for a good part of it too, just because it wasn't, you just know Gabara's gonna win. The only thing that really stuck in my mind was Gabara sinking his hands in the water and electrocuting the water. No, that was neat. That would have been fine. I think, like, even though, again, as you guys have pointed out, Monster X probably just would have tanked it fine. I think that's more of what I was looking for. I was looking for more Gabara does things with the environment to at least fight back, rather than
Monster X literally makes his entrance by slamming into a planet
Right. So it's like, yeah,
Mach
no,
speeds.
it's like, ooh, boy. Yeah, I was expecting a lot more, I wanted more creative elements, like Gabara taking advantage of certain terrain elements to give him the upper hand. Sure, I know this is an MM match. I expect the power balance to be more. I expect Monster X to be nerfed, especially considering where this is coming from. But I think it's just more the same. It's Monster X gets manhandled by a monster that he normally would dominate against under the hands of any other writer. And I think that's the part where the initial part with the Gabara electrocuting the water is cool. That's the only point that sticks out to me, because it's the only thing different from what Gorosaurus versus Monster X provides. But other than that, though, it's like literally just more the same, and that's why it's not really sticking with me. And again, he is a space monster. Why does he need to? Why is he being choked out? Doesn't make sense. I know this is all giant monsters, but all of them. Oh lordy.
Actually, I think he does breathe in Final Wars,
so I
but
guess he's breathing
I guess
somehow. So yeah, whatever.
I guess
he's
it's like
adaptable.
he can breathe if he wants to, but because he was inside of a meteor in space. I'm pretty sure there's no air in that meteor.
But point being, though, it does seem a little too unusual just to be died by choking. I don't know. Again, it's just literally more the same. That's my biggest problem with it. Like, whatever, Gabara wins because it's an MM match. I think we all expect that. But literally, my issue is that it's more the same. Monster X being manhandled by a weaker monster, with only one little difference being Gabara electrocuting the water to do something. That was kind of neat. Other than that, it's just more the same.
So sad there were no trenches dug
going
this
for the
time.
top, Gray Shot, what'd you think of it?
Okay, so I think the main issue that this match has is not its writing, because I think its writing is actually pretty good.
It's nicely
details,
paced,
some nice lines.
too.
I think MM, there's a good pace to it. Like, MM knows how to write a match well, and that's why I genuinely do like his writing style. The thing about this match, though, is if you compare it to the original, Gorosaurus versus Monster X, while Gorosaurus winning was a surprise, it felt earned. Both monsters fought. They felt like they took blows. Monster X held the advantage, but you still didn't know which way it was going to go. This one, very much from the get-go, feels like a parody of that match. And I think it suffers because of that, because it doesn't do anything funny, because you already know how it's going to end. If this had ended with Monster X winning, I think that actually would have been a better ending, because then it would have gone against what people would have assumed, with the parody style starting and having Gabara about to win and Monster X just crushes his head in or something. I think that would have been a funnier an ending that would have worked with this tone. It just doesn't work in the end, though. It doesn't stick that landing, because you already know the joke, and the joke isn't funny. So, what are you going to do? I think a better sequel, which I'm not sure, I think we've talked about it, was Varian versus Gorosaurus. I'm unsure if we've talked about it yet,
I think that's for the future.
But that, I think,
literally 4 matches for now, so.
Okay, well, that match very much feels like a proper sequel in pace and tone to Gorosaurus or Monster X. This one, though, feels like a wacky offshoot. So, this match is definitely memorable. In my note, I think if I were to write this match, if they said write Monster X versus Gabara, I'd have Monster X arrive on the island to fight Gorosaurus, run into Gabara, and Gabara's like, "Oh, I heard he was a weakling. I could beat him." And then he gets punched in the gut, and then Monster X, another punch, sends Gabara on the ground, reeling in agony, blood, dripping from his nose, and Monster X just walks away. That is the level of power I think Monster X has, And yeah, I think he's very much nerfed in this match. Very, very, very much so. More like I think this is one of the most nerfed monsters ever in use in the KWC.
My jokes during my reading were what I think would actually happen.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. I think Monster X is one of the toughest monsters in the KWC, and on a physical standpoint, on a melee standpoint,
within how it's portrayed in the film, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So I durability, on strength, I think he's a walking tank, and yeah, I don't think Gabara stands a lick of chance. And you can audibly tell he's nerfed, which is why I don't think the joke works, is because it's not Monster X he's fighting, it's nerfed Monster X, which doesn't work out. So yeah, I think this match is memorable for all the wrong reasons, and I don't think it's a match MM should be proud of. I think he could have run the joke better, but I feel like this is a joke that punchline just fell flat.
It's not memorable like a good story, it's memorable like stubbing your toe.
Yeah, it's a good comedian telling a bad joke, and the most memorable part is the silence. The equivalent to this is no one remembers Jeb Bush, but everyone remembers please clap.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of this. It is the complete opposite of someone that is borderline, straight, saying a joke. And this is someone trying to make a joke and it falling, a comedian trying to tell a joke and it falls flat, and that's what people remember.
So, Nagoda, what did you think of 154? Oh, sorry, GVR, I'm sorry.
Me? You wanna?
Think people are ready?
This match, oh my gosh. Okay. I know someone watching this video is probably going to be like, oh, you're just being a Monster X fanboy. It's just a match. Doesn't matter who. It's not based off fantasy matches. It's based off what the writer wants. That's the issue. My issue is not that Monster X lost and Gabara won. You could do that and have it be done interestingly. Like, have Gabara clearly be outclassed, but through luck and some trickery, he manages to take a win. That would be interesting to read. But the issue is that that's not the kind of match MM wanted to write. He just wanted to write a match to piss people off so that he could make fun of them. MM wrote this match for himself. He did not write it for people reading it. He wrote it for himself. Mm-hmm. That is my problem with this match. That is my problem with all of the, oh, here's a super weak monster beating up a super strong monster, is because it's just being written to make people mad so that you can wank to it. I hate this match.
If you're gonna write a weak monster,
I hate this match.
Yeah. If you're gonna write a
poorly written or anything. Yeah, sorry, Nagoda, but just like
no worries.
I hate this match, and it is my least favorite match. Not because, oh, I like Monster X, because this match is the absolute epitome of every problem I have with MM. He's a great writer. He can write amazing things, but he chooses to do this because he's immature.
Mm-hmm. No, I could easily see that. I could very, very much easily see that.
Yeah, I think like a better idea of this kind of matchup. What was your thoughts on Maguma versus Shin Godzilla?
I have no strong feelings on that one. It exists.
No, but you would say it does the matchup in better than this matchup. Having a weak monster and a strong monster, and how the outcome feels much more earned than what happens here.
Yeah.
I also do want to say, if you want a decent example of where a weak monster fights a strong monster and comes out on top, I think a lot of praise goes to Godzilla vs. Godzillasaurus on that one, I guess. I don't know.
Advertising Kaiju X. I'm trying to make up for your icky match from earlier.
Up until 275. Anyway. But yeah, very good. Yeah, no. So it's like the idea of weak versus strong is like, nothing new. Right.
Can be done well, but most
Yes,
people don't
very
do it
much
well,
so.
which is annoying.
So, and that's, yeah, no, absolutely.
You got any more thoughts, GVR?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I guess I'll go then. This does not really feel like an earned win. Like it was just a random beat down. It was just like a random mugging that happened to Monster X as he was just walking around. I mean, like, sure, like, you could say, like, if this was written well, it'd be good. Like, it is kind of written well, but it's not, the story itself isn't written well. The writing is good. The story isn't. Like, even Gorosaurus vs. Monster X, that one was a lot better. You'd think something that came out, like, further down the road from an earlier work that was good would be good as well. But it isn't. It's worse somehow. What else was there? I mean, like, you can find ways for Gabara to beat Monster X, but him winning like this is just, like, it seems like it was just made to make people angry.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, I guess
no,
it worked if
really
you
did.
listen to us talking right now.
I'm sure if him listens to this one, he's just gonna pop a big old boner when he hears my review.
So, the groin shot was fun to read, I guess. That's a good weak
it's at
spot
least in the
for every
series,
monster.
So I guess it's
Just
justified.
aim there.
I'm going to say this now. I think he did a better groin shot in the Grand King Ghidorah free-for-all match. That one. Where he has the kiss of death on Monster X and the bolt shoots out his crotch. I thought that was far more clever than this. Grab the crotch, have a gravity bolt surge through Monster X and shoot out his groin. Priceless.
Yes.
Well, I think it's I think it's still coming up, so I think that one is.
That was
something to look
128.
forward
We
to.
already read that.
Oh no, that was 128.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't remember it. The
Oh,
only
it
thing I
did?
remember
Damn,
from
never mind.
128
Okay,
is the final battle between Grand King Ghidorah and Orgalon X. That's the only thing I remember from that
Orgalon
match.
X,
The rest
yeah.
of it was just kind of boring.
Also, another thing I'd like to point out, everyone always uses Gabara's electricity by surging it through water. Like, I know it's like cool and all, but you're, like, in this case, it's the ocean he's surging electricity into. It's not gonna go, even if it goes that
Really?
far, it's gonna be really weakened down.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, I
Have
know
you
That's right.
seen how, it's a big ocean. Electricity, like, spreads out in water, like, on the distance going to Monster X, it wouldn't just go in a straight line, it'd go spread out in a circular radius type of deal.
I like the idea that he just Gabara puts his hand like I'm gonna shock him, and then cut to some random guy jumping into the beach in the Atlantic Ocean. Like, come on, kids, let's go in. The water's fine. Some random bolt of
That would be
electricity
funny.
surges over to
All
him.
life in the ocean dies immediately.
I mean,
Gabara,
like, maybe a
baseball.
lake would be good, but the ocean is not really.
No, listen, you gotta watch Jaws too. They show you how electricity can be used effectively against sea creatures.
My favorite Gabara electrocuting the water is still Cameras versus Gabara, where he shocks himself like an idiot.
Again, because it works with the character. I think that's the problem with this match, is it doesn't work because one character's kind of acting right,
No,
and then the
totally.
other one's like, "What? Who is this?"
Gabara's an idiot. He's not going to be like tying someone's
Right.
tail into
He
a
might
noose. He's
pull
going to
out
be
a
tripping
clever
over his own
stunt
2
once
feet.
in a while, but he's not the brightest of the bunch. Yeah.
Like if someone wrote a match of Gabara beats Monster X by Mr.
Right. Oh,
McDoing
yeah,
his
no,
way through the
totally,
fight,
totally.
I would love that.
Either way, how much damage do you think the Monster
I
X's
don't know. That's
Gora
hard to tell.
striking
Final Wars
someone
doesn't
would
give
be?
us an answer.
Because we
They
see
would
it
die.
explode, and the explosion from it, in the air, makes a crater. But if it actually hit the ground, then that would be an even bigger explosion, wouldn't it?
Oh,
Maybe.
Because it isn't being slowed down by
I
an
don't know.
atomic breath striking it.
I think
Well,
the speed alone would
I
kill
mean-
most monsters.
I think
Yeah.
it would. I think it's gonna kill whatever it hits. It's not like, oh no, it's gonna be a soft touch.
right.
It's like, no,
Unless your
yeah,
name's
you're
Final
gonna get
Wars
hit and
Godzilla,
it's gonna hurt.
That is true.
Or
That's
banging.
Final Wars Godzilla, though.
So,
Yeah, that is true. Now going on to the banner. It looks nice. Those trees are oddly big. I like how Gabara's bleeding. For some reason, both of these monsters are really buff if you look at them. I mean, really, look at them. Monster X has a six-pack, and just look at Gabara.
Oh god, I never realized.
them
Like,
boys
dang.
thick.
Looking jacked, man.
I like how the Exilia mothership is just in the cloud back there, but it could have done like a bit more hiding to make it look nicer. The tree behind Monster X looks like it's about to go on top of him, which is bugging me.
Yeah, I know. It's...
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You see it like, right under the armpit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks
Oh
weird.
man, that's messing up my perspective of reality now.
I know. It bugs me.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know.
Their feet
like
going into
the-
the water also looks weird to me.
Yeah, like just making it gradient disappear into the water isn't. It makes it look weird.
Yeah, I
If
made
you did
this
an
banner
overlay,
and
it
I
would have been
regret it.
fine.
Yeah, I regret it. Again, this is not. I love the effect in
Yeah, this-
Gabara, and I think the the other.
Oh,
effects
this
are
was
okay.
you?
Yeah, this is me. This is me.
That explains why it sucks.
Hey,
Damn.
Gabara's moon looks cool.
Bruh.
So it's like a third of this banner is pretty awesome, and a third sucks.
Yep. And the other third is just there.
That seems about right.
Hmm
They don't even look like they're
Looking at
fighting. They're
them.
looking at the camera.
No, Gabriel's looking at the ocean like, what am I doing? And Monster X is just there. He's like, hey, face me. Gabriel's like, no, I'm hurt.
POV, you're Veron and Baragon.
Hey, it's all in it.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Holy crap. Okay, that's funny. That was the funniest thing so far. It wasn't even from the match itself. Anyway.
But yeah, I feel
think
like this
the biggest
kinda-
laugh of the night was my stupid joke from
Oh, yeah.
151.
Well, no, people would have...
Spoilers, but
Yeah. Something
Spoilers
we've
for something
already
they've already
read and
seen.
they've already seen at this point. Anyway.
just,
It's like being
don't
in
know, they
episode
could've
6
skipped
of
over
Star
the
Wars, being
video.
Like, spoilers, Darth Vader loses.
yeah, who knows? Maybe they don't like me.
Anyway,
That's possible.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, this match could have used a bit more work. And that's all
Yes.
for me for now.
This
Alright,
match could
Ditto.
have
What about
was
you,
not
Ditto?
existing.
Okay. So I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I'm just indifferent to it. It's just a really kind of match. I think the dialogue is fine. Whatever short bits of dialogue, it's fine. The pacing is good. It's pretty much nonstop action. It's short and digestible. But yeah, I don't buy Gabara killing Monster X. I can believe him getting electrocuted in the lake. That I can buy. But Gabara tying a noose basically around Monster X. I'm like, no, I don't think that's how it works.
Hell.
Yeah. I haven't read this match in a while, and really the only thing I remember was Monster X getting electrocuted, getting shock therapy in the crouch. But yeah, it's just a meh kind of match. Really. Trying to think here. Yeah, it's just really short. I'm not a big fan of it, like the whole Monster X being a jobber. But I think for the most part, we've moved away from that in recent times.
Right, right.
And Monster
Whether
X
he
is
wins or
a pretty credible threat these days.
yeah,
It was funny in match 64.
Right.
It's not funny
Finally
here.
being written well.
Yeah, even if he loses,
That's
it's
what I
still
was
like
gonna say, whether he
a
wins or
believable
loses,
thing.
I think Monster X has garnered a lot more respect rather than just being treated as MM's punching bag. So.
Yeah. I would say the banner's pretty good, aside from like the few little errors that Nagoda pointed out, like the palm tree tickling his armpit, or the like the weird gradient in the water. I would have made the Zillion UFO a bit bigger, but other than that, it's still pretty good looking. I mean, I just like tropical settings in general. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say. It's just a, wow, this really happened type of match. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really got much else to say, I guess.
That does pretty much, I guess, end anything we need to say concerning 154. So, I mean, do we have anything else to add on or maybe note of? Because I know...
I think everyone... No, I was going to say, I think everyone more or less touched on
Okay,
what everything this match has to offer.
I know there's one more match within sort of like, I guess what I could best describe as the official Monster X trilogy. There is one more match to it, and we will be getting to that when the opportunity rises. So, but that will be a story for another time. In the meantime, this has been match 154, and we will see you guys next time for match 155. Till then, everyone.